Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we've got a few new products and cards to take a look at that have been revealed recently that are coming out soon. There's a pretty big PTCG live update. We will, of course, also have Guess That Flavor Text, everyone's favorite segment of the podcast. And apparently, something happened in the Merida Regional Championships this weekend that I think we'll close out the episode by talking about. And then, of course, we do also have the bonus episode exclusive to our Spotify subscribers and our YouTube channel members. And yeah, it's going to be a great week. Sorry that we're a little bit late. Someone was a little sick coming back from Merida, but is mostly recovered now. Feeling pretty good, Azul. My name is Trip Richie, joined here as always by my friend and co host, and now an 8-time regional champion. Is that right? Azul GG. What's up, Azul? How we doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, Chip. Yeah, I got 8 now. I have outdone Michael Pramawat, the 7-time regional champion. First player ever to have 8 regional wins, unless maybe you count like the 40-player European regionals from back in the day. But I don't think
Even
anyone's counting
still, dude, I
those.
don't know that anyone's
I
anyone's rocking 8.
don't know. There were some players like back then who would win their regional every single year. So I don't know if it's possible, maybe. Like someone like I think Tord won probably the Norwegian regional multiple times, so it might be up there. But yeah, one Merida definitely outdid my expectations, I guess I would say. Wasn't able to really execute my plan, my adjustment for prep going into the tournament. I played for 1 day before the tournament on stream. My goal for major tournaments going into Merida and moving forward was to try and like grind on stream with the deck for like 4 or 5 days, like, try and, like, just kinda play decks in the format. Before then, find, like, the deck I wanna play that it makes sense in terms of what I wanna play or what seems like a really good play, and then grind that for, like, 4 or 5 days before the tournament. I was definitely not unhappy to end up with Maridon, and I ground that for the day before I left for, Merida, for, like, 8 hours on stream. I was kind of in between Maridon and Guardy, but once it came down to, like, just 1 day, I was like, "It just isn't enough time for me to wanna do Guardy, so let's do Maridon." And I was pretty content once I was like in top 16. But then some interesting ties happened, and Diego beat Petrucci in the down pair, and the asymmetrical cut got extended to X2-1, and I was put into asymmetrical cut, and then kind of won the whole thing from there. So yeah, I'm like definitely happy for the win. But it's not. I don't know. It feels weird. It's like I'm happy to have won, but I'm still very. Um, I didn't really get to execute what I wanted to going into this tournament, and I'm not going to be able to execute it either going into EUIC because EUIC is literally next weekend, and I just don't have that much time to once again prep. So I'm like unsatisfied with my preparation for this tournament. I'm definitely gonna be unsatisfied with my preparation for EUIC. So I'm not like fulfilled, I guess, by this tournament win. It's nice. Of course, it's a win, right? It's great. I love the win, but it's very unfulfilling for what I'm trying to do in the game, in like for where I'm at in my career, if that makes sense. Um, so like I'm actually like looking forward towards like Vancouver, more so than anything. And I have EUIC next weekend, but I'm not going to be able to execute the preparation I want to for EUIC the way I want to execute it for Merida or EUIC. So Vancouver is kind of the tournament I'm looking forward to right now. But yeah, the win was good, but that's where my head's at right now as far as competing goes. But it was pretty cool to win for sure.
And
How was
just
your week, Chip?
never satisfied over here, this guy. I mean, hey,
That's
man,
not
you
a
got
bad. I feel like that's
I
not a
know.
bad thing, right? People are complaining that I wasn't going to tournaments, and now me being unsatisfied with the win. There's gonna be people being mad at that as well. You guys, I can't please you guys, bro. It's always something.
I know, and that was the one thing I wanted to talk about too, is because like there's been all these people like Azul has been going to tournaments. People want to see you competing at worlds and stuff
Yeah.
there. I mean, I was one of these people worried you're not going to lock up the world's invite, but you executed from what you said your plan was from the very beginning. I might not be playing in that many tournaments, but I'm just going to win one of them. And you were able to do exactly that. You've got your
Yeah.
world's invite now, $10,000 as well. It's a pretty solid weekend, if you ask me.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's really hard for people to like relate to that because like even to you, I'd say to people in my stream, like if I have to win a tournament to get my world's invite, that's how I'll try and get my world's invite. People would ask me, am I gonna it'd be fun. It'd be funny when people are like, "Are you trying to get your Worlds invite this year?" It's like, "Well, I'm going to major tournaments." So the answer is yes, because I plan to try and win these tournaments. Like, but even if I went to just one tournament in this, if I only went to NAIC, right, that's it. I'm still planning to get my Worlds invite, right? Like, I'm never not playing for my Worlds invite. I just maybe have to do more. I have to like have a higher placement at one tournament as opposed to less prestigious placements at more tournaments. But once I actually, dude, I didn't even remember this, but did the best finish limit go down from 6 to 5?
It
Uh,
did.
yeah, I was talking to people at Merida. Um, um, no, we're just talking about like the season, like people's plans, what people have done. I was like, "Is it 5?" And someone was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be so much easier for me to get my worlds in right now because like 5 to 6 is so much different in terms of a best finish limit when I'm competing against players who are gonna be going to more majors than me potentially. But if a best finish limit of 5, that sounds like pretty easy. If I'm gonna still go to like 8 or 9 majors this season or something like that. Obviously now I've won Merida, so I don't have to worry about getting top 125. But I was pretty confident I would actually be able to get my worlds invite between EUIC and NAIC with the best finish limit of 5, still going to like 4 or 5 regionals. So yeah, with the dub now, I got my worlds invite, which is pretty sick. Um, yeah, I'm so excited to play in more tournaments. But like I said, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, Merida was super unsatisfying because I didn't really get to do what I wanted to do at the event. And EUIC is going to be the same. Even if I win EUIC, it's going to be pretty unsatisfying because I'm not like what I want to do
You
is
got
like
a week, dude. That's plenty. You're not going to stream it all next week?
well, tomorrow I'm going to stream. It's Champions League. The day after that is the Puerto Rico special event plus Champions League. Sunday is the Puerto Rico special event. So I might stream after the Puerto Rico special event, and then Monday, Tuesday, and then I leave Wednesday. Like I got
There
two
you go.
days.
3 days, two and a half.
Monday, Tuesday, and if I even stream Sunday, well, I'm going to stream Sunday. I'm going to stream the Puerto Rico special event. But yeah, I might not stream more than that. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to execute like my continuation of how I want to change my preparation for major tournaments. So even if I win UIC, I won't be very satisfied. It'll be like Vancouver is where I feel like I'll have enough time to execute the amount of preparation I want to for the major event. But we'll see, I guess.
Well, the congratulations are certainly in order. Well done. Round of applause, Azul. Congrats on the dub. And
Appreciate it.
yeah, very excited for you. Get to compete in worlds, but also, I mean, it's definitely a cool story to see. Like it was out there for anyone who wanted to know what Azul GG was going to play to the tournament. Like you streamed the deck, the tweaking
Yeah.
process, finalizing the 60 all the way up until you ended your stream. You did a chat vote on the
Yeah.
final optimal Magnemite.
Dude, I used the Magnemite multiple times in the
Yeah, yeah.
tournament. I hit round 2 and 3, I hit 2 Sarah ledges. And it's pretty good in that matchup because you don't want to like overextend all your energy. So you slow it down, put the
Yeah,
Pikachu on the bench, use the Magnemite, whatever. Um yeah, the Magnemite was definitely Energy Excel was definitely optimal.
Magnemite's chill for sure.
It's chill.
Um, but yeah, so we apologize for the late release this week. We are going to be back to a normal release time next week. So it'll be 2 episodes here pretty close back to back, but there's a lot to talk about because of course we'll talk about Azul's win this week. There's also some new cards and stuff to talk about. There's plenty for us to talk about right now today. But we're also going to be talking about EUIC on next week's episode. Even though it is just a few days away now,
Yeah.
when the release of the next episode, like a full the IC episodes are always very in depth, and we got a lot to talk about usually with them. So
I was gonna say, yeah, I didn't even mention
we'll
that. But
probably
yeah,
do a tier list. I would assume that's what we've been doing for the major tournaments, ICs, and worlds
yeah.
and stuff.
I was gonna say after Merida, yeah, I got sick. That's why we didn't do it on time. And dude, I was like, I felt it on the plane ride home. I was like pretty sneezy. But the thing is, like, I get sneezy in general when I fly. It's probably because it's dry, right? So when I'm flying, I usually get pretty sneezy in general. So I wasn't confident I was sick, but then I woke up on Tuesday, it would have been, and dude, I was like so like done. It was bad.
You got to get you some
Um
Campbell's chicken noodle, buddy.
and then it was the same thing. Like I felt way better as the day progressed. On uh Wednesday, towards the end of Wednesday, I started to feel better, but I woke up feeling terrible again. But then today I woke up and I was like, all right, it's actually good now. Um, but yeah, so it's just like, yeah, it was pretty bad the first couple of days. But then I woke up today feeling good. So still get the podcast in for the week, thankfully, and good enough to stream tomorrow as well, which is nice. Um, but yeah, that's why delayed, and then why I haven't been streaming or anything. I'm a little bit behind on like everything right now, to be honest, because of getting sick, and also, like, also here at the house, like, we're moving around some rooms, so a lot of that going on as well, a lot of just, hectic stuff in the house, being super sick and then moving stuff around in the house is, a lot going on, but yeah.
I do have to ask just one more thing before we get into the bulk of the actual episode. I know we've been going here for a few minutes now, but
Yeah,
um, what was going on this weekend with what you had on your feet?
for the shoes. Dude, it's actually funny because yeah,
Caleb
uh
was putting you on blast on Twitter for these things, bro.
yeah, and of course, I mean, yeah, Caleb would notice, when I got into the hotel room what I was wearing. It's actually funny though because those are just like my workout shoes, um, that I take to the gym, uh, but, I noticed myself, like, when I was at the airport, like, I woke up at, like, 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. to get to the airport, and when I was, like, walking to the train at the airport to get on that to get to my terminal, I, like, looked down, looked at my feet, I was like, "Wait, what the heck? Why am I wearing these shoes?" Like, I had, like, to surprise myself. I was like, "Where'd these shoes come? These are not the shoes that I thought I put on when before I left the house." So, I was just like I wasn't in, like, a hurry leaving the house. I always make sure I have, like, plenty of time to get to the airport and stuff. I just am not trying to miss flights. So, I still, like, I wasn't rushing to get shoes on, but I took the wrong shoes, I put them on, I guess, I don't know. I didn't realize until I was at the airport myself what shoes I had on. I only brought 1 pair of
And
shoes.
you walk in the hotel room and Caleb said something instantly.
It's pretty instant if I remember correctly, yeah.
That sounds on brand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congrats again, Azul. We'll talk more about your win later on in the episode, your deck, kind of the final deck list preparation, and then also the rest of the meta from Merida, because there's actually some pretty interesting things when we look at the decks that made top eights. Um, a significant lack of a specific balloon from the Gardevoir players at the event. Um, but before that, let's talk about some new cards and some new products coming out as well. First off, we'll start with the new products, and there is a brand new League Battle deck that has been announced. So we talked about the Charizard EX League Battle deck a few months ago when that first got revealed. It obviously came out. I think it was a very successful product, sold out very well. Obviously, we enjoyed that product a lot as well because we did a video on it on our second channel, the Uncommon Energy channel, and that video did extremely well. Everyone was very interested in that, and we got multiple people tagging us whenever this thing got
Yeah.
revealed as well, because there may be something there for us in the future. But a new League Battle deck which will feature Dragapult EX and Pheasantipity EX. So 4 copies of Dragapult EX, and then also the copy of Pheasantipity.
Yeah, so this one actually seems and actually, like, the Charizard deck already was pretty good, but this seems better than the Charizard deck, to be honest. I feel like you get a more powerful deck, just in terms of I mean, I guess the Fizzdipity is also just, like, a big card to get. That's what there was really lacking in the Charizard deck was, like, extra draw support? I mean, I guess you have Pidgeot, but, like, there's no Cleffa or Rotom, and in this, you got the Tatsugiris, you got the Pheasantipity. It's still kind of lacking a Cleffa, to be honest. But, yeah, this deck just seems way more powerful than the Charizard deck. It's definitely, like, a level above, I would say, for sure, and hopefully that they continue that kind of trend. They don't have to make them, like, better and better. It doesn't have to be, like, a perfect 60. And actually, I had this discussion with my chat. Um, Shout out to Grub, who I did apologize to after we had a little bit more of a conversation later on in my chat. But um, I think they definitely try and make the League Battle decks a little bit probably easier to play overall. But this one, like, there's a decent amount of depth to like the options with this deck. Like, look at all the one-ups there are, right? Like, I feel like they're not really holding back with this one, the kind of the way they did held back with the Charizard deck a little bit in terms of trying to dumb it down a little bit for the newer players that are going to be buying this product. I feel like this one they kind of went a little bit more all out. One counter catcher, one boss's orders, like
Yeah.
a lot of one-ofs and a lot of situational cards, like a TM Devo. So I feel like they're not really holding back with this build of the deck, and I don't really mind that it's like a Zatu build, even though it's probably not the optimal way to play the deck. They didn't put Dusknoir in here, which is probably the better version of any kind of Dragon Ball deck, and that's one thing you could look to as far as like dumbing the deck down a little bit, maybe not including the Dusknoir. But even past that, you look at the trainer lineup, and it's like pretty in depth, pretty good range.
Yeah, also a bit of a bummer for the no Dusknoir, because if there had been Dusknors in here, there would have been non-hollow versions of Dusknoir, and
Ooh.
that would have been pretty nice.
That would have been nice for the non-hollow enjoyers, which should be everyone, but is not quite.
Yeah, but, just value-wise, it seems like it's gonna be a very good value. Like, the Dragapult
Yeah.
EXs are, like, $4 or $5 a piece. Pheasantipity is 10 plus dollars,
Yeah.
so you get your value in just the EXs alone, and then if you look at
Mhm.
the trainers, like, cards like Arven, Earthen Vessel, um, Countercatcher,
Well,
Super Odd, all these cards are, like, pushing $2 for just trainer cards, right? So, this
Arvin won't
was
be for long though, well, maybe not though, Team Evo's still around, right? I was gonna say Force Steelstone rotates, but
yeah, I
it
think
might
that
still.
I've actually thought a lot about if the Arvin engine is going to be good post rotation or not. It feels like based on results in Japan right now, it's a lot of like super fast turbo decks, and so the slower stuff isn't succeeding quite as much. But Arvin, I think, yeah, with TM, the technical machines like is obviously still very powerful. But yeah, losing Force Seal Stone a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's very good value here, extremely playable cards. I mean, even things like Buddy Poff and Ultra Ball. Like, I think it is a generally good thing for these cards to be like bulk rate pricing because it's just easier for people to have access to the game. I am very glad. Like when I first started playing, I had to pay $9 a piece for Versus Seeker, an uncommon card from the XY era. That was a four of in every single deck. I am glad that
Yeah.
that is something that people don't have to experience these days.
Yeah, definitely for sure. The only other thing that I ever, like, think about that, and I just don't know actually how that actually stands, is, like, how much like, I think there probably needs to be some amount of balance between, like, helping local game stores survive through the
Sure.
singles being worth something, right? You don't want singles to be worth absolutely nothing, but I don't even know. I feel like local game stores, a lot of them don't even sell singles anymore, so,
Most of the
sealed
local game
product
stores that sell Pokemon near me are selling
sealed.
slabs.
Oh, slabs and
Yeah,
sealed, that's it.
slabs and
Yeah, and
sealed.
if they can still get by with that, then that's, like, fine, I guess, right? It's not that big of a deal then, but,
Yeah.
um,
And then also like some of this stuff like, Counter Catcher, Rare Candy, Buddy Poffin, like these cards have been out for a while and been worth a little bit for a while. So it's like
yeah,
if a few years after or a few months after their initial release, which is where the bulk of like, stores wanting to get value from these like commons uncommons, right? Comes from. There's nothing like one of the stores near us that I like a lot. It's they have boxes of cards just for like 25 cents. And even if someone's buying four Buddy Buddy Poffin for 25 cents, that's still, if you get a few dozen people every week doing something like that, it adds up over time, right?
yeah.
And they're, buying out full pieces of decks and stuff. So I don't know. It all adds up. And then there's another release as well we can talk about, which is the next prize pack series. So, for those who don't know, these are packs that are given out at Pokemon League, either League itself. There's League challenges, League cups. Usually, stores. It feels like these days have been giving these things out like candy, which is a very good thing. I have seen some stores that do prizing of just prize packs in lieu of like regular
Yeah.
packs before. Like not even offering one or the other. Like I've literally seen people posting that they won a league cup and then their prizing was five prize packs. So I don't think that's what the intention for these necessarily is for, but it's cool. Like you show up to league, you play for an hour or something like that, couple hours, you get yourself a prize pack. And there's some pretty good cards in here as well. The Terapagos, Pheasantipity, and Unfair Stamp being pictured here on this tweet from Play Pokemon.
Wait, those will still be hollows, right? The Terrapagos Pheasant Dipity.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay. For some reason, but yeah, we would have had like other stuff that would have been non-hollow that I would have probably owned by now if it existed. But yeah,
Yeah, they
okay.
did release the full list. Yeah, full card list. Here it is actually in the reply. That's pretty sick.
Look.
So, I mean, and there's
Oh,
some, it's always,
what?
it's
Where's
interesting to
the?
me, some of these cards, like, um, so like one here, isn't Frostlass a hollow? So like that's a card that will be non-hollow now. That's one you probably don't have as non-hollow. Maybe it came in a deck
Yeah,
actually. I don't remember. Um, but
can put that in
there's
there.
some funny ones here. Like I saw people pointing out Iron Boulder. Like uh I just don't like there's gonna be some filler spot here and there, of course, always, but like sometimes some of these cards it feels like has anyone ever played this card, you know?
Oh, maybe they know something about the future of future that we don't, though. Maybe there's a.
And I guess if they're trying to fill it out, it's not the worst thing. Like, what's this
Yeah,
Kaparaja even do? Kaparaja. Do you know
one of them.
this guy?
Your opponent's active can't play. Yeah, it's not very good. What?
But of
Yeah,
course, it's mostly excellent cards, right? And it's some of them that have been
yeah,
printed already, like Buddy Buddy Poffin is in the current prize pack set, Counter Catcher in the current prize pack set, so more of a chance to get those.
I guess actually I don't even know. I haven't looked ever at the set list of the previous prize packs, so I don't even know what to compare this to be honest. I've only opened a couple prize packs, but I don't even know like the comparison of other what other set lists look like to be honest. But yeah, there
Yeah,
definitely is some non-bangers in here, some garbage, some filler.
there's actually a lot of repeats now that I'm kinda looking at this, like, both these technical machines, I think, are in the current prize pack. I don't know if I don't think Crisis Punch is, but, like, Prime Catcher is in here again, which that's a good one to see once again,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that card's just always gonna be pretty good. Um,
The thing
so
is with these
there's
though, it
definitely
doesn't
some
ever
repeats.
which is kind of funny. I mean, maybe it brings down the price of the other cards a little bit, but not really, because these cards are always way more expensive. It's like the playables, like the the prize pack prime catcher is like 4 times as much or something as a normal prime catcher.
Yeah,
So it
it's a
doesn't really
lot.
like it doesn't like bring down the value of anything. But it is like they are like really good products in terms of just like value for playing the game, I guess. Like at least, oh yeah, it's like a lot. It's like what 9 times,
10
10 times as
times,
10
yeah.
times as expensive. So like if I was someone like if I was like when I was like really young, if I was playing League and getting prize packs, I pull that the stamp prime catcher and I'm immediately up trading that or down trading that into like a whole deck or something like that, right? Like that would
Yeah.
be what I would be doing with that personally. So it is like good value to the players to give them options to do with that kind of stuff. That's how like I would do it if I was still going to League and stuff back when I was younger.
Yeah.
If these existed.
The prize packs are definitely one of the coolest things that they've done in the last few years. So I'm glad to see that
Yeah.
they're continuing it. And I hope they continue to do it into future generations and stuff as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like they never really did it before, and it's obviously kind of a hit. They did have the Pop series stuff, and they had those just when I started playing the game. They just kind of those were getting phased out as I started playing the game, but those weren't even on like the same scale as a prize pack. I don't think there was like a couple playables, but yeah, they weren't actually the comparable at all. So hopefully, something they keep around in the long term.
And now we do have some new cards to take a look at, and it is more owners cards. So it always feels kind of weird to like read the owners cards because I feel like you have to read everything all together before we even talk
Talk about
about
it.
one at a time. Like
Yeah.
talking about Ho-Oh EX by itself, you'd be like, this card is terrible. But then when you look at the rest of the cards, it's like, okay, there's something solid here. So I'm gonna just
Well,
read through what's up.
yeah, go ahead. I don't know. That ability is pretty good. Like,
Sure.
yeah. But go
Well,
ahead, read through them all.
let's just I'll read through all the Ethan's cards and then we'll kind of break it down and talk about them. So we got Ethan's Ho-Oh EX. First off, why is this guy called Ethan? I thought his name was
Who is that?
Gold. Why isn't he Gold? It's the
Oh, is
character
that gold?
from Gold and Silver.
Oh, see, I don't even know who that's literally him. But
It
what do you call him when you talk to him?
well, he is you. You play as him.
Oh, they never mention your name?
Well, you get to pick your name. But like the default name usually is Gold, and then if you played Silver version, the default name was Silver.
Wait,
But I think when
the
Heart Gold and
default
Soul
name
Silver
is
came
gold?
out, they named the character Ethan.
Interesting.
Have you played a Pokemon game before?
No. Well, yeah, one. What one did I play? Sword and Shield?
Sword and Shield, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what you should do. You should make it a sub goal on your Twitch channel. Get to a certain point, and then you have to play like red and blue or something like that, start to finish.
yeah, sure. Nah. I don't
Nah.
think so. I don't think so. I don't think it'll ever be happening.
No.
Maybe I mean, someday. I think probably at some point it might happen. Honestly, I like um, uh what is it? The aesthetic, I guess, of those games, the graphics of like the
Yeah,
older Pokemon games, way more than the newer stuff. To be honest, the top down
yeah.
Game Boy Color.
The Game Boy Advance games is like prime Pokemon in my opinion. Like Ruby, Sapphire, Fire Red, Leaf Green. That was
Yeah,
where it was at.
yeah, or like I guess the ones I did play a little bit was had to be Black and White. I think I never had it, but my siblings had the DS. So is that the
Could
game
have
that
been
came out?
Diamond and Pearl.
Oh, it was Diamond and I don't know, it was one of them. But yeah, so I played a little bit of that. Even that like style of what's it called, art or whatever, is definitely more intriguing to me than whatever I played with Sword and Shield.
Let's read these cards now. We got Ethan's Ho-Oh EX. with the ability Gold Fire. Once during your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic fire energy cards from your hand to one of your benched Ethan's Pokemon. And then for 4 fire energy, Shining Feathers 160, and then heal 50 damage from each of your Pokemon. Then we've got Ethan's Adventure here, the supporter card. Search your deck for up to 3 in any combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic fire energy. Reveal them and put them in your hand. Then we've
Shuffle your
got
deck. Don't forget that.
okay. Ethan's Mag Cargo with the ability Melting Slide. If this Pokemon has no energy attached, it has no retreat cost. And then Lava Burst for 3 fire does 70 times. Discard up to 5 energy cards from this Pokemon. This attack does 70 damage for each card discarded in this way. And then we've got Ethan's Quilava, which brings it all together with the ability Travel Companion. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for 1 Ethan's Adventure, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck.
Where's the Typhlosion?
It's up here.
Is it? I forget what the Typhlosion is.
It's not that good. For 1 fire energy, Buddy Blast, 40 plus this attack does
Oh.
60 more damage for each Ethan's Adventure card in your
Eh,
discard pile. It's like
that's 280.
okay.
That
Yeah.
KO Zoroark. That KO's Raging Bolt.
Yeah, Zoroark with the meta staple card in the format over in Japan. Good point, Azul.
KO's Raging Bolt.
Yeah, that was a pretty
Which
good one.
that's a
It,
meta. I mean, you play this as a one of, right?
unless they have Bravery Charm.
Hmm. All right. Yeah, this was a. I actually didn't read the.
Typhlosion is okay.
Yeah, I think I read most of it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe they were getting like released as. Oh, Ethan's Peachy was also not bad, right?
Yeah, this one's pretty good. Tingly, draw 30 damage, and then draw a card.
It's literally just
Punch
an anti Badoo card, right? Like that's
anti
literally what this is.
Badoo.
Yeah, or I guess like some kind of setup for a 2-hit on stuff.
Yeah, this is pretty funny because we have Elekid right now, which does like basically
Hmm.
this, except it does 30 anywhere, right?
Yeah, you could actually argue this is better because like if you don't use it early, you could KO the Badoo later to close out a game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't
But this
even
one
know.
you have the draw power, which isn't so bad.
One card can be a lot. That can be a pretty big difference. You never know. After playing a weekend of Maridon and using Fleet Footed, that one card.
It's all the difference.
Yeah, I feel like I
Uh,
read everything except Macargo to be honest, because I was or Macargo? Yeah, Macargo. Because yeah, Macargo's actually a pretty big
oh
player
yeah.
in this deck for sure. I didn't even realize what the Macargo did.
This is your guy right here. My
That's
cargo,
him.
he's the guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is what you were attacking with this deck for sure. And I actually think there's something here. Like the main issue here is there's no way to like see more cards, but it's a very search based
Yeah.
engine, right? So it's all about just finding Ethan's to like get your board set up, but you need to like see more cards because like getting just 1 Ethan's Pokemon and 2 energy cards is like not going to be enough on a lot of turns, I feel
Yeah.
like. So that's kind of the one issue I see with this.
Also, bench
But
space, right? Because you need like 2 Ho-Ohs.
you gotta have 2 Ohos. You gotta have 2 Magcargo. You gotta have at least a Quilava. I feel like this could be like a thin line in the deck for sure, though.
Yeah. Maybe that'd
Um,
work. Maybe you can make it work with 6 spaces. I was thinking Area Zero maybe had to get involved, but maybe not.
um, but yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here, but it's been a long time since we've read a card and we've been like, oh, this is going to be a new meta staple tier 1 deck. You know,
Well,
we haven't had a card come out where it's like this is a new tier 1 deck since Terapagos, I guess, and that wasn't even necessarily a tier 1
yeah.
deck.
Well, I think people well, it was like I think people thought that about Zoroark. Like, right?
You might have thought it.
You didn't read Zoroark and you're like, "Oh, that's gonna be a tier 1 deck."
No, because
What?
it's only as good as the ends Pokemon
Yeah,
that exist.
but didn't we just kind of assume oh, I obviously assumed there would be better stuff, and they've given us it seems pretty mediocre so far, but I think they'll give us more. Maybe they won't though, who knows? Maybe they're only gonna release the owner's cards in a single set, and then after that set is done, that's all we get. Who knows? I
I
guess that
kind
could
of
be the
feel like
outcome.
that's the direction we're going right now, based on what
Yeah.
we've seen. Because like there's Ethan's cards here, there's Misty's cards in this set, there's gonna be Marnie's cards in this set, I think, right? Because
Yeah,
we
we will be getting him in this set, yeah.
there's
We're
gonna
not
be
getting Marnie or Stevens. Wait, is it Marnie's Grimmsnarl? Is that Marnie?
Mhm.
Yeah, we're not getting Marnie's or Stevens in our first owner set. We're getting in the second one. There's like a, we're and this probably just matters for Stevens more because the Metagross seems pretty good, but the Stevens, yeah, we're not there. Japan's gonna have those cards like 3 or 4 months before we get them ahead
Yeah.
of us, which is pretty cringe. But that's unfortunate. But we've only seen the Metagross so far, I think, from Stevens.
But yeah, I think there's definitely potential here, but I don't think it's quite enough yet to put it over the edge.
Yeah.
Like, if Ho-Oh attached energy and drew cards, I would be like, this deck seems broken, but that would probably be too good, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of draw. I mean, you guys still got Pheasantipity, right, to go off of. Yeah, you can't like play research or something. Well, no, I guess you could. You could just play a research. You don't have to play the Ethan's card. You just play some of it, but you can still just research for turn, right? Why can't we just research? Research
That
into
is
superior,
true.
right?
That would actually be kind of interesting. What if you just played Ho-Oh, Mag Cargo, and then Turbo Engine, like
Yeah, just play
research
four.
Ionos?
Yeah, this could be the first deck where you play the super rod ace spec, whatever it's called, where it recovers 5 in combination of energy and Pokemon. That would actually be good, right? Because you're just trying to chain Macargos. That seems kind of good in this deck.
Could be okay. Could be okay. Yeah, Mag Cargo is definitely like a very strong attacker.
Yeah.
A two Ho-Ohs plus attach return means you're doing 350 whenever you want, right?
See, maybe we're just not playing the Quilava as well, right? Then our bench gets freed up a little bit more for the Pheasantipity or just other kind of draw power.
Maybe that's the
Um,
move
maybe look at Reverum. Although this deck is kind of cool because of Macargo's ability. You actually have like a decent amount of mobility. What does Ho-Oh's retreat cost actually?
too.
So that's still kind of awkward. But
He's a little thick.
yeah, that's
He,
unfortunate.
he may have wings, but he fly kind of slow.
Wait, so what is its ability? Is it only to bench Ethan's Pokemon?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm trying to like fully visualize this deck. But yeah, yeah, there's definitely something here. I think I agree. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. It's kind of funny because I don't think you play the supporter. I don't think you play Ethan's adventure in it. We'll see though.
Yeah. Then we do have some Misty's Pokemon here. We've got a Misty's Magikarp with Submerge. Magikarp here, 30 HP, of course, gets KO'd by just about everything. But as long as the Pokemon is on your bench, you get to prevent all damage and effects of attacks done from your opponent's Pokemon to this Pokemon. So that's pretty nice. And then
The only Pokemon impervious to power creep is like Magikarp, I'm pretty sure. Like it's like
30 HP all the way.
even like the babies Pokemon, they stay at 30 HP, but they get better in terms of like attacks and stuff.
Then we've got Misty's Gyarados. Splashing Panic 70 times. Discard the top 7 cards of your deck. This attack does 70 damage for each Misty's Pokemon discarded in this way. And then we've got the ability or the item card Sacred Ash to shuffle 5 Pokemon from your discard pile back into your deck. This is a reprint card. And
Yeah.
then we've got Misty's Psyduck with Duck and Cover once during your turn. If this Pokemon is in play, you may discard 1 card from the bottom of your deck. If you do, discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and put it on top of your deck.
That is just like a really wait, what is the it only works from the bench. Okay. Um it's a really unique ability. I can't think of how that ever when do you all right, here it is. You're playing Lugia, you get Iono'd. Of course, rotation happens, so Lugia's not legal, but let's just pretend the Iono double Archeops at the bottom of your deck. You side duck to discard a random card from the from random card from
I
your
mean,
hand that was Iono to the bottom of your deck. Obviously, yeah, Archeops and Lugia rotate. When does this ever like
it's
trying to think?
for Gyarados, buddy.
Oh, because it puts itself back on top of the deck. Oh, so
Yeah.
it's literally just for Gyarados. Oh,
Yeah.
the trade-off is so bad.
And then you get to use the Max Rod A spec card to get 4 Psyducks back
Oh,
and put
true,
them all
yeah.
back on top
Honestly,
again.
I couldn't do that. I didn't make the connection to the Gyarados. I was trying to think about the discard interaction. That's what I was stuck on, was like, how do we utilize this to make use of the card we're discarding? But I guess there's just no way to do that, and the Missy's deck seems terrible, to be honest, but we are
Yeah,
hitting hard. We are hitting hard.
we've only seen 2
Um,
cards, so
yeah, maybe there's
there
more Missy
could
cards.
definitely be more.
And the Sacred Ash isn't a direct reprint. It is up to, which was one of the flaws of Sacred Ash from back in the day, is you sometimes just have to put a lot of garbage back in your deck. It was a very efficient, not efficient, it was a very high power Pokemon recovery card because you get 5 on an item, which is just like really good. That's like a lot of potential. But sometimes you'd be in a situation where you're like, I want 1 Pokemon, and you had to put 5 back in. So you kind of clunk up your deck with a bunch of garbage. But you played it because you just wanted to play 1 recovery card and you only needed Pokemon. It was played in like Excelgor decks a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Or
It
like
was not
Trevenant.
even played that often though. Like
No, yeah, it wasn't super
it wasn't like a
popular.
staple recovery card every deck played it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, now it's up to, which I don't think we should always be everything. Not everything should be up to. Like something should be forced to make it worse, right? It can be like a side effect. But I feel like we are shifting the way Pokemon cards work to be a little bit more uniform, and up to is the way we're headed. Or like Palpad is now up to, Sacred Ash is now up to. So I don't think we're gonna have like the nuance of some cards having almost like a because it's a bad thing for it to be limited to have to, right? But I feel like that's not like a balancing tool they're applying to the game, which is like fine. It's not that big of a deal, but something I thought I would mention. It is technically a buffed Sacred Ash.
Well, shout outs to Tuan over on Twitter, as always, for the translations. And yeah, very much looking forward to seeing more cards to get revealed as well. We still have Steven's cards to see. The pack art shows Arvin with Mabostiff on there. So we probably will see something there. Cynthia and Garchomp we haven't seen yet. So there's still more to come from this set as well.
Yeah, still a lot more. And even knows even how that's gonna. I mean, I guess we should everything that they're revealed here should come in our second owner set, right?
Yeah.
Welcome. I was trying to think of like when we're actually gonna get these cards for sure. I guess we don't know for sure, but most of it should. I guess there could be a couple things that don't, but you never know.
Well, our next topic this week is about a TCG live update, and there is a new patch coming next week. And there's some pretty big updates coming to the game, and they are things that the community has been asking for. Some of these things since the release of TCG Live. I would argue that all of these things have been things people have wanted since the release
And
of
most of
TCG Live.
them, they all existed in PTCGO,
They did all
right?
exist in
I think they all
PTCGO.
existed, but yeah, go through them and we'll talk about
3 years later. Here we go. Uh,
them.
hey everyone, TCG Live Game Client update starting February 18th. Here are the list of changes, the featured changes. Players are now able to mute their opponent's reactions in a match. So no more spam, thumbs up constantly. No
Oh,
more
annoying.
spamming of the shrug emoji. What's the most triggering one to play against, do
I
you
just
think?
I don't even recognize which one it is. It's just that it happens. It's funny though. Now I can mute them because I'll react to it sometimes, and I'll realize my chat can't see it because my overlay covers that part.
Oh,
I did that on purpose so my chat didn't have to deal with it as well. But I'll be like, sometimes I'll be like, my opponent will like do something and they're like fine, but then they do like the thumbs down emote because they didn't get the perfect 7 cards off research or something. I'm like, bro, what are you complaining about? Like, and I was like, oh, I was like, chat, they did the thumbs up thing. My chat because my chat can't see it, and I'll react to my opponent's reaction. But yeah, I'm glad they're getting rid of that because I'm the instant. Hopefully, it's a global setting and not a per match setting, but we'll see. It'll
it was
probably
a
be a
per
per
match
match.
setting in TCGO.
Yeah, it'll be one of those things I'm just gonna hopefully be able to make a habit and insta mute.
Players can now remove match timers when challenging their friends to a match.
This one's big for coaching mostly, but also playtesting as well. This makes the playtesting experience of PTCG Live. PTCG Live, you basically could not use for playtesting. Like,
No.
yeah, you can use it for practice, play ladder or whatever, but it's basically impossible to use for playtesting. Like, you and a testing partner sit down because whenever you got to a situation where you want to be like, "Hey, what do I do here?" The timer starts beeping. You're like, "Well, I just got to make an action," and can't even discuss the play. So everyone just used simulators, which made more sense. So finally, you can coach efficiently and playtest efficiently on PTCG Live.
Yeah, which is huge for sure. When a match has concluded, players are now able to add their opponent as a friend with a single button press.
That one's kinda whatever, to be honest, I don't even
I think it's like a fine thing. It's a normal
yeah.
thing I feel like to exist
It
in
should
card
yeah, it should
games. You
yeah.
can always like send a friend request or whatever.
Don't add me, please.
Yeah, that is probably going to be annoying. I wonder. I guess for you, people in your position, streamers and stuff, it would be nice for there to be a auto deny setting or something like
Yeah,
that because you will
not
probably
that big of a deal.
everyone who queues into you will request to add you probably.
Not everyone, but some people will.
If the player has knocked out opposing Pokemon that have a combined prize card value greater than or equal to the number of the player's remaining prize cards, the remaining prize cards are auto selected for them.
Holy smokes, finally. So if you win the game just wins the game for you instead of having to you click on your prize cards, clicks there's so many things, and these are like so most of these things that we're reading here, there's other things to look at here in the patch notes, are all like quality of life upgrades. But they're things we've wanted for so long. And honestly, it should just draw your prize cards randomly for you. You picking your prize cards is just ridiculous to begin with. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It shouldn't. You should just like pick your prize card for you. If I
Well,
knock out an EX Pokemon,
yeah.
um, it should just draw me 2 prize cards. That's
I
it.
think
That's how it
it's
should go.
reasonable that because there may not be something in the game always that lets you like put specific cards in specific places in your prize cards, right? But I think it's probably just from a coding perspective, that is like a very minor thing, I think, in my mind, to just like have it be, instead of having it be like it always just auto takes them, but then it always just auto takes them. But then when you play a certain card, oh, now it has to change to where you get to select which prize cards to take in what order. Like I think it just makes it's like not that big of a deal that
Well, I mean, all right, so it's actually really funny because
I know that's one of the probably rebuttals to it you hear all the time when you bring this
yeah,
up.
I literally wrote this down on my notepad. Chip is gonna say, "What if you interact with your prize card?" 'Cause I knew this was gonna come up, and I was like, "That's what he's gonna say." They just need to put a clause in the coding that says, "If prize cards are interacted with, allow like, initiate player selection over random selection." Like, it's not hard. I don't know how to code, but even if someone who knows how to code tells me it's hard to do, I know you're wrong, and you don't know what you're talking about. You probably took your first coding class the other day. Like, it's not hard for them to put a clause in there like when prize cards are interacted with, which if you play Peonia, heavy ball would not count as that. If you play something like Peonia or Gladion, actually, did Gladion reshuffle? I don't even remember.
Gladion
Um,
does reshuffle.
yeah, so it would be basically just be Peonia off the top of my head. Like if Peonia, like if a card like Peonia is played, it marks your prize cards as interacted with. If prize cards are interacted with, you no longer your prize cards are no longer selected randomly. Instead, you get to pick them. But if prize cards are uninteracted with, which is 99% of games, then they're picked randomly. Just everything is all quality of life upgrades. Their goal should be to have players play as many games of Pokemon as fast as possible at an enjoyable pace, right? So you don't want the animations and stuff to be going super fast and like people getting nauseous, which is kind of how it felt when they just kind of like turned up the animation speed of everything. It felt like, um, but I guess maybe I've just gotten used to it now personally. But if players getting new to the game have that feel that way, maybe it is something that they just kind of did and it is too fast still. But yeah, prize cards should just be selected for you. Like, it should just be faster. Like, they are adding these, but there's still so many other quality of life upgrades to add, and I think the biggest one is overall still just the gameplay, which they never address in patch notes. They never say, like, "We've made" well, I feel like maybe like, when they initially made animations faster, they did put something like that in the patch notes, but they never say anything like, the average time for, after you click on your attack to your attack actually happening, we've increased by X. Because right now, if you like click attack, your Pokemon moves over to the side, then the name of the attack pops up on the screen, then the Pokemon executes the attack, then the Pokemon goes back down to the screen, then your opponent's turn starts. But like that's too much. They still have a whole ton to do with quality of life upgrades for like the gameplay so that the games are shorter and you're playing more games of Pokemon. But all these things in these patch notes are a beginning to that. So maybe they're finally at the point with the game where now this is like can be their focus, like because there really hasn't been that many bugs recently, right? Like I haven't hit a bug in a while. I feel like, and when a new set drops, there's not a whole ton of bugs on new set releases either. There are some, but there's not like what there used to be. So maybe now they're at the point where they can actually start putting time towards quality of life upgrades and just like gameplay quality in general, to make the game just feel more enjoyable to play and just be a better experience. And hopefully that is like over this next year, we see a lot more of those kind of improvements. So we can just play more games of Pokemon faster. Because like Guardy's ability, bro, Guardy's still going to be in format for another year. It's a miserable experience to use Gardevoir's ability on PTCG Live still. And the card's been in format for how many years now? Two? In a while, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, coming up on 2.
and we have like another year.
Yep.
Yeah, so like stuff like that. They should still fix Guardy's ability, hopefully, but I don't know.
I just gotta say, like, I feel incredibly seen, and I'm happy that you like. I feel like a connection here. You know, the fact that you know me so well, you knew what I was gonna say. You know, it's like we're having a little bit of a moment. I feel. Are you feeling this? Is this just me? You know.
No, it's just everyone's reaction to when I say the prize card should be randomly.
Last new
Uh,
update here. Click to place feature has been added.
ooh, is
So
that like for stabilized damage? You don't have to drag the
oh, I don't know. It says see news for more updates. What I thought this was where you could click a card and then click like the active spot. So you didn't have to like click and
uh,
drag. That's what I thought this meant, but
mm.
I guess it could mean to like place damage. Let's see. It says see news for more info.
So
Let's see if we
they're
can.
fixes slash polish. See, that's what I want to see more of. I want to see more fixes and polish happening. Like the overall gameplay of the game needs to improve. There's still a lot for it to improve upon too, but this is like it's actually happening, which is good to see. But it's one of those things where it's like it feels silly, dude. I always like call people out when they say stuff like this. It's silly when people like act surprised that they're improving PTCG Live. It's like they were always going to improve it. The game was always going to get better. This isn't a surprise. The problem is how long it's always taken. I feel like I say this every single time.
Yeah.
The problem is how long it's taking to get there, and it's still taking a really long time. Now we're finally starting to see the quality of life upgrades come at a more rapid pace. Hopefully, these keep coming because there's still a lot for them to do. They need to tackle the deck building experience and the overall
Dude, please make it so we can see our full deck.
yes. Like,
Please.
the deck building experience,
Please.
you need to be able to, like, favorite your top artwork. Imports need to be better. It needs to, like, auto import. If you don't have the cards, it needs to fill it in, but it needs to let you set import defaults as well to, like, your favorite. You need to be able to, like, favorite an artwork of a card, and then imports default to that card. Like, there's still a lot for them to do in that realm as well. Did we find the news?
Nope.
Is it on this post?
Nope.
What's it, like, under what did it say?
I
Go to
looked, buddy.
news?
I looked.
Wait, when is this
It says
dropping?
see news for more info. This is dropping February 18th. Today is the 13th.
Dude, so I'm only gonna be able to stream one day because that's Tuesday.
Yeah, but it's not like it's like a new set or
No,
something.
no, no. Yeah, no, but for
Oh,
my
it'll
prep for
be
EUIC,
offline. You'll be
yeah, it's gonna
offline.
be
Down
down.
for 8 hours.
So what yeah. I mean, maybe I'll try and get on because sometimes it comes back at 8 AM PT, so I could, like,
Well,
stream
and we
later in the
also record
day.
the podcast Tuesday nights too.
Oh, so yeah, I'm not gonna stream on Tuesday. Dude, so once again, it's a one day. I'm gonna stream Monday for my prep for EUIC. See, this is why I'm like
We could
that's what I said,
we could
like
record the podcast Monday night if you wanted to, so you could stream Tuesday night.
maybe I just go, like, longer on Monday. I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, what would work better for me we'll talk about it, we'll talk about it.
People don't need to hear the logistics of our
Yeah.
recording planning.
Yeah, they fixed some bugs, and then what does it say under gameplay and battle? Is there anything down here that is, like, quality of life
No,
upgrade kinda stuff? No, right?
just other issues. Fix an issue where you could
Yeah,
a soft lock could occur when attempting to activate an ability as the match
yeah.
timer reaches 0. Um, Fix an issue where catchphrases didn't appear at the start of the match. We gotta make sure that's
Oh,
fixed.
no. Dude, just as they got rid just so you can mute your opponent and bring gotta make sure they catchphrases. They gotta let
Dude,
their the opponent get the dig in at least,
come
right, with
on.
the catchphrase.
We can hate on TCG Live for the bad things, but the catchphrase, there's nothing wrong with the catchphrases.
Yeah, I guess. Ketchup or something?
I just ate a whole bottle of ketchup.
Something
Who
like that.
chose that? But it's just so funny
That's a
because
good one, though. It is
it has
funny.
become like an iconic TCG
Yeah,
Live saying catchphrase, whatever they call it.
yeah. I know, I think, like, see, that's, like that's one of those things where it's like, I'd be able to appreciate something like that a lot more if the game was good. But it's like, bro, you're wasting time coming up with eating a bottle of ketchup when this game sucks, right? Like on release. So it's I can't get behind the meme, right? Like
For sure.
and it's just kind of annoying. Kind of feels like a uh kick in the face. Like it's like disrespectful to the community if like you're memeing around when the game is like so unpolished, right? That's when it's
Yeah.
just kind of annoying. But like I'm all down for the memes and the jokes and stuff, like when you're putting out a good product, right? Or if the game is being fixed at a rate that is like reasonable. But for what PTCG Live was, like it's not, then it's just kind of annoying that the avatars exist to the degree that they do, and like that there's so much being put into that, and all that stuff as well. But yeah, catch up.
All right. It is time, of course, to move on to guess that flavored text. But before we do, we have to take a moment to thank our fantastic sponsor, Dragon Shield, for supporting us here at the Uncommon Energy Podcast. Of course, Dragon Shield makes some of the best card gaming and tabletop gaming products on the market. We love them for the sleeves, but they also make binders, deck boxes. I use the Magic Carpet XL for my cube, the cube shells for my cube. We love the Dragon Shield products and very, very highly recommend them. Azul, were you rocking some matte yellows this weekend for your win with Maridon? You
I
color
did
coded
have
it.
I didn't even think about that. I literally did not cross my mind once. But yeah, I did have the matte yellows. this last weekend over in Merida. Served me well. Got the dub with them. Yeah, shout out to Dragon Shield as always. Sponsoring the pod. Gonna have to pack some more. I should just rock. I mean, I'm gonna rock the yellows until I lose a tournament. Then I'm gonna switch over to the Auroras. So
Mm.
yeah, as long as I win EUIC, I'll be rocking the yellows moving forward. But that's gonna be the real test. But yeah, big shout out to Dragon Shield as always. Check them out. Link in the description of our dragonshield.com and use our code UEPOD. Get yourself 5% off and directly support us with any purchases you do make. We appreciate it.
Thanks a bunch to Dragon Shield, of course, as always. And yes, be sure to use that code UEPOD. That is UEPOD. Get yourself 5% off and also support us as well. Clicking the link in the podcast description. And yeah, now it is time for the real reason everyone showed up this week. Who cares hearing
True.
about Azul's tournament win? We are here for Guess That Flavor Text, where each week Azul or I picks a card, reads out the flavor text from it, and has the other host try to guess which Pokemon is featured on that card. We do keep score, and whoever gets it right, they get 4 points. There are 3 lifelines you can use. For each lifeline you use, you do lose a point. And those 3 lifelines are what set the card is from, what stage the card is, and read and attack name. Current score is 32-29. I've got myself a 3 point lead. We'll see if Azul can pick up some ground this week. Could even take the lead potentially. I would be pretty impressed. I'm not going to lie if you could get this one for a 4 pointer. Are you ready, Azul?
I'm ready.
It habitually spins things on its nose. By doing so, it learns textures and odors.
I mean, it could be. I'm thinking about nose pass. It's got a nose. And then the other one was it Probo Pass? Is that the nose pass, Probo Pass? Are the two nose Pokemon that I know of.
Those are 2 Pokemon, yes.
All right, give me the flavor text one more time.
It habitually spins things on its nose. By doing so, it learns textures and odors.
It's such a weird flavor text. It could also be uh no, it wouldn't be that Pokemon. I'm gonna need some help here for sure. Let's go with what set the card is from.
It is from Platinum Rising Rivals.
Platinum Rising Rivals. That's so long ago. Trying to like just Pokemon with noses. But they all have noses. For some reason, Linoon is coming to mind. I don't know if there's a Linoon in Platinum Rising Rivals. If that's why that's like coming to me right now in the moment. Yeah, they all got noses, so um
Rising Rivals is the set that has Luxray in it, I'm pretty sure. Luxray level
Luxray.
X.
Probably not Luxray. All right, give me what stage the card is.
It is a stage 1.
Okay, actually give me an attack name.
Find Ice.
Okay, so it's not nose pass because that's psychic ground or whatever, psychic fighting, I think. One of those. I'm pretty sure. Find ice,
Find Ice.
and it's a stage one,
It's a stage 1.
and it's attack. Finding rising rivals.
It habitually spins things on its nose. By doing so, it learns textures and odors.
Dude, I don't know, man. That one's. Is Beartic a Pokemon
Uh,
from?
Beartic did not exist when Rising
Okay,
Rivals came out.
I didn't think so. I'm trying to think of like ice Pokemon that are stage ones. Dude, there's like Frostlass, Glalie. They're not spinning stuff on their nose though. Oh, is it the stage one seal? What's his name? Dugong? Dugong's one of them, right?
Dugong.
But there's another. Isn't there like another Seals Pokemon that's like a stage one? Let's just go with Dugong. I mean, Seals spin things on their nose. Let's go Dugong.
Locking in the Dugong.
Sure, let's go Dugong.
Azul, it is not Dugong. And you almost had it right there at the end. I'm not gonna lie. So when I picked this card, I read it really fast, and I thought it said it habitually spins on its nose. I
Oh,
didn't read the spins things on its nose part, and when I started reading it, I was like, "Oh crap, he's gonna get this one." I thought this was like gonna be a really hard one,
yeah.
but it spins things on its nose. And yes, seals do spin things on their noses, and that's why this Pokemon is Celio,
Oh, I knew there was another seal.
the
They
evolved
have also went
form
to the
of
seal.
Spheal, pre-evolution of Walrein.
Is Dugong also a seal?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. I don't know what I got into Celio. No, I think I could have got there, but I don't know why would I pick one over the other? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why I would end up on Celio over Dugong.
there's also like the Primarina evolution line. They're all seals
Oh,
and
yeah, but
stuff.
there I know that's a newer one for sure.
Yeah, definitely
Beartic,
newer
if
than
you had
Rising
told me
Rivals.
Beartic, like, if Beartic was around then, I would assumed it wasn't when I was on the Beartic thing. I don't know why Beartic would be spinning anything on its nose. I just know it's an Ice Stage 1.
You did get on the right path though, right at the end there by saying like, "Oh,
Yeah.
seals spin things on their noses." I had to give you one that I deemed to be at least a little hard this week. Someone pointed out to me on Twitter this week. They were like, "Azul's gotten too many dubs. We can't let him get an easy pass on Guess That Flavor Text this week, winning tournaments over there down in Mexico." And speaking of which, that is our next topic. It is the Merida Regional Championships results. And of course, we are in the presence of the Merida Regional Champion, Azul GG. Congratulations again. And yeah, you did it with the Meridon. So why don't you just kind of talk to us about the process of why you chose Meridon and how you ended up on the list that you chose to play for the events? Because one thing that is actually pretty interesting, and I'm sure you've noticed this as well, is that a lot of the good players that played Maridon for this tournament were their lists were within 2 cards of each other. Everyone's list was very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone was, like, on too crazy like, the list was pretty as like, the list that I ended up playing wasn't, like, too crazy different from what was, like, kind of established as, like, the way to play Miraidon. And yeah, my thought for how I wanted to approach playing in major tournaments moving forward, towards Merida and, like, moving forward for the rest of the season was I wanted to pick a deck um, as soon as possible before a tournament, or within like I said, 4 to 5 days before a tournament, and then just play as much as possible with that deck before the major tournament. Then go to the major tournament, play the deck of the major tournament, um, and repeat. Um, and leading into Merida, I only had 1 day because I don't. What was I doing? Why was I not streaming more before Merida? Because is that when I was just first moving my room around and stuff like that? I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't think there was a good excuse.
Um, I guess I was just moving a bunch of stuff around still at the house here. So I was able to stream for 1 day, and I was between Gardevoir and Miraidon. I was like, well, if I'm gonna stream for 1 day, I should probably go with Miraidon. So chose to play Miraidon, grinded on stream for 8 to 9 hours, trying a couple different things out, and ended up on this final 60 here. Last minute changes was in between like one or two for a seal stone. I was down to two boss for a little while and it felt fine, but glad I did come back up to three boss. And three felt pretty comfortable at the tournament overall, to be
Who told
honest.
you to do that?
You were definitely a staunch advocate of third boss's orders. And then was in between the Magnemites, and I let chat pick which Magnemite to play. They voted on the 50 HP Magnemite, and that's the one. If I had to pick between the two, I probably would have picked myself. So shout out to chat for picking the 50 HP Magnemite. The reason to play the 60 HP one, its attack is way worse, but it survives Dusclops. Is like the big thing.
Yeah.
So, but the attack of the other one is a lot better. The magnetic charge to accelerate 2 energy into play, which you can do with Squawkabilly, but Magnemite's a one pricer, so it's kind of nicer.
Yeah. And I
Um,
was a pretty big advocate for 60 HP Magnemite as well. Um, but upon like kind of just thinking about it a little bit more, and obviously it worked out just fine. Probably just having like the option of this attack in most matchups outweighs the potential of your opponent dusclopsing it, right?
yeah,
So,
definitely.
and it sounds like you were able to use its attack magnetic charge to pretty solid effect throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I used it 3 or 4 times overall, I think. Sometimes I go out of my way to do it because Magneton was prized, and other times it just kinda lined up to be, like, the best thing to do in my turn was to, attack with the Magnemite, get extra energy, and play. So that's why I ended up on Miraidon, that's how I ended up on, this 60. And like I said, like, happy to have won the tournament, of course. Yeah, there's people who are, like, questioning and, like, want me to be going to tournaments. Now that I've gone to a tournament, I'm like, yeah, I mean, the tournament win is good. I'm happy to have won, of course, get my worlds invite, all that stuff. But I am unsatisfied with the tournament overall because I'm more concerned with. I think this is the best way you want to look at it as well. How you like how you play on the tournament is all comes through your preparation beforehand, right? Like everything before the tournament, that matters way more than the actual tournament, I feel like. Or you want it to matter more, I guess, right? Like you want your week or how much ever preparation you can put into the tournament before the tournament. You want that to be the bigger impact on your outcome of your tournament, not like you seen some like genius lines of play in the tournament or hoping to see these genius lines of play in the middle of the tournament. You want to already know those lines of play exist. You don't even have to think that hard to like come to the conclusion to do those lines of play in a certain matchup, right? So I'm unsatisfied with uh, the overall like tournament, right? Because I didn't get to prepare as much as I wanted to. I streamed for 1 day, grinded Merida, but I want to do like 4 or 5 days on top of already more days before that, playing with a bunch of different decks and just playing the format in general to kind of figure out what deck I want to play at the tournament, and then grind that deck for a couple days in a row, which I won't be able to do for EUIC either, unfortunately, coming up. But if you want to know what I'm playing for UIC, just tune into the stream on Monday, I guess. That's what I'll be playing. And it was kind of funny though, because when I was doing it at Merida, people in my chat, dude, I don't understand. This happened at once recently as well. And when anyone says anything like this, I usually just ban them because I just don't, it's just annoying. But uh I feel like I've never done anything in my career or with my content for people to question my integrity in terms of if I say something. Well, I like meme and troll a lot and like I'm sarcastic a lot on stream, but uh there was one point where people were like I don't know even know what remember what was around, but I banned a lot of people because they were like being like, well, no, Azul would obviously never be truthful about this, so don't listen to actually what he says. But it's like these people are still in my stream watching my stream. It's like I don't want that kind of stuff in my chat, so I just ban those people. But it's like, why would you want to watch a content creator, someone like me, who's like the reason you'd watch me is like more towards like the competitive side of things. So like if you don't if you think I'm lying or not telling the truth, why would you watch my content, right? Because like especially for my stream and my YouTube videos, it's about the competitive and the information I'm giving on like a competitive level. It's not really about like the entertainment side of things, which is like what our secondary uncommon energy channel is about, right? Um, and there's people in my chat before Merida. I didn't ban any people for saying this because I just thought it was like silly the way they were acting. But people were like, "Is Azul actually going to Merida?" Or "There's no way he's actually playing this deck." I remember someone in my chat was like, "You're not actually playing the 60 though, right? You're gonna have something spicy to throw in at the actual tournament." It's like, no. What do you guys like? What do you guys think? Like what? I was so confused where these questions were coming from. It was like I've already said I'm going to Merida and I'm playing the 60 that I'm coming up with on stream like right now. And then people are still like questioning it like there's some hidden agenda or something. And it's just like I don't even know. But if I don't know, I just don't understand if people actually thought that, why are you watching my content to begin with? Like I don't know. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like it is I guess it is kind of discouraging to me a little bit because I feel like the way I hold myself, the standard I hold myself for like, I don't know, being genuine is like I just kind of hope that people take me at my word with this kind of stuff. So it is kind of like I guess annoying, but maybe a little bit disheartening when people like assume I'm like have like some hidden agenda or something like that. So that's kind of always I guess like disheartening, but a little bit. But it wasn't that bad after. It was really bad at one point. I don't remember it was sometime last season, but for the Merida thing, it wasn't that bad because like people were just like thinking I was trolling. I don't know what impression I gave to people to assume that I was trolling, but that I was going to Merida, or number two that I wasn't not going to play the 60 that I was talking about with on stream. But maybe just kind of the idea of it is like was shocking to people. But you even had like people like toured before the last European tournament. He was like, "This is the 60 I'm playing. It's in my Metafy group. That's it, right?" So I don't know. Like, and I think we've seen similar stuff from Bradner as well recently, where he's like,
Yeah.
I'm basically playing this deck. Maybe I'm gonna change a couple different tech cards at the end, but like, yeah, people are being pretty transparent in their Metafy groups. I guess maybe that's kind of just an adjustment thing. People just aren't expecting it, so that's kind of fair as well. It's like people are like, wait, these players, these top level players, are just like giving us the 60. Maybe that's because like having there's so many 60s out there now that it's like having a 60 doesn't mean that much anymore. It doesn't mean as much as it used to.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know, little rant.
It's also not the first time you've done literally this same thing. I remember years ago watching a stream where you and Brad Curcio, right after Garbodor came out, you spent a day on stream building the slow Volcanion deck, and then you ended up getting top 8 at the Madison Regionals that week with the
Yeah.
exact 60 that you guys worked on.
Yep. Yeah. Slow Canyon. That deck was
So
super fun.
it's happened before. It's happened before. I do want to ask you about what this tweet is about. I was told to ask you about this situation here. Something that happened during your game. So
Yeah. So
Pablo tweeted, "Did you know that Rotom V's attack is 40 plus, not 40 times? Because I didn't till today." Are you the one who taught Pablo that Rotom V's attack is 40 plus, Azul?
yeah, it was funny. So at the beginning of the game, I knew Pablo was playing control because I saw him play a match earlier, and I didn't know exactly what he had, but I saw a Feebas on his bench. I saw the Ogerpon in his active when I walked past his match earlier. So it's like it's Pidgey control. He's got these cards. There's a couple unknowns going into the match that I wasn't sure of, but I was like, if it's anything like All Out Blitz, one of All Blitzel's recent builds, which it looks similar to, I was like, he doesn't play Mawile, and he doesn't have Erica's Invitation or Flute. So I was like, with that in mind, he can't Ogerpon trap anything if I just set up a board full of attackers. And in my opening hand, game one, I looked at my hand and I was like, this is fine, but I would like to see some more cards. And I was like, and I went to go read a card in my deck. And Pablo laughed and was like, "Come on, you're reading your cards?" And I was like, "I just gotta make sure." And I read Rotom. And then later, I maybe game 1 happened really fast. In game 2, I once again put Rotom in play. He brought it up with Ogerpon, trapped it, and then I went like draw for turn, attach, draw 3 with Rotom, yada yada. Traps it again. I go attach, hit for 80. And he's like, "What tool are you lost on?" I'm like, "No, I'm just doing 80 damage." And he was like, "Oh, it just does 40 plus." So you can't actually trap if you put Rotom in play, Rotom's having is like fine to have in play. You can't. There's nothing to trap. Even if Rotom's in play, that you can't actually trap anything with the Water Pond if there's no Squawkabilly or something like that. So I was able to have draw power in play with the Rotom, and still have a board state that was untrappable by the Water Pond, which is kind of nice in that matchup because it is
Broken.
weak to lightning. So even with the Assault Vest, doing 40 every single turn, he'll eventually run out of pennies. I think actually, I guess with the Silent Loop, maybe not with the Assault Vest. That'd actually be interesting. But I also play 3 tool cards, so I can threaten like an effective one hit on the Ogerpon as well, which is
At
what I
some
did.
point, yeah.
Yeah, so I hit him for 80, and then the next turn I went and got like a Bravery Charm, discarded, and then KO'd the Ogerpon with the Rotom. So no, I guess actually with the Silent Loop, I think that would be enough theoretically eventually. But
Not as
he discarded the Defiance Vest early on in
mm,
both games, I think actually. So I don't have to worry about that.
not as safe as you maybe thought, though.
Yeah, but yeah, the Rotom is potentially safe to use as some form of draw power. But yeah, you can't use Squawkabilly. You can use Pheasantipity if you want because it can hit for 100. You just attach 3 times to it, but
Sure.
you have to avoid stuff like the Luminion and the Squawk.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
Pablo did not know what it did. He thought he had it trapped.
well, you do get the dub, and Caleb Gettimer as well played the same 60 as you. He got a top 16 finish. You talked about the um, top cut situation, and that's actually something pretty interesting. So, going into the final round, it was looking like X21 was not going to make cut, but a
Yeah,
couple of pretty odd things happened. So, first off, a table ID'd to X21,
yeah.
which was unexpected. So that takes some people out of the equation here. I'll pull it up here on.
It's better to visualize it on Pokédata, I think. Or actually, maybe this will be fine.
I like yeah, I think
This
this is
works
pretty
fine.
good.
Yeah,
So this table 3 ID'd. They intentionally drew to get to 28 match points.
yeah.
But if one of them plays and wins, then X2 1 isn't so that like basically going into the round, it was gonna be these 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 winner here, 5, 1 winner here, 6, 1 winner here, 7, 1 winner here, 8, and then if
That's it.
Pertusi wins, that's 9. So
Yeah.
that would be potential of 9 people, assuming all games finish. So the only way 28 match pointers make it in, 1, Diego needs to win, which did happen, and then 2, there needs to be 2 ties on these
No,
matches.
not quite. It only need to be one tie. Um, and then it's good to go. You
Oh,
didn't need both.
if Diego wins, if Diego
Yeah,
wins.
if Diego wins, we only
If
need one
Pedro
tie.
wins, then there needed to be 2 ties.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so,
So,
right? What is the math on that? One,
yeah.
2, 3, 4,
If Pedro
5,
wins,
6,
there
7.
needed to
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
2.
If Pedro wins, there need to be 2.
So, it was like a perfect storm of events that led to us having a 14-person cut for the first time this year, the biggest cut we've had.
Is it really? Is this the biggest one we've had this so far?
I
I
think
didn't
so.
realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty big cut. Yeah, so yeah, it went from uh yeah, potentially a 9-person cut, almost like clean cut, to yeah, the 14-person cut. And I was part of that asymmetrical cut, the X21 record to be able to make cut. So definitely fortunate for that to have played out that way for sure. 'Cause I was in a situation where I was probably not gonna make cut. I was still pretty content with top 16 though, to be honest, though, once I won up to 10-1. I also hit Ancient Box on the winning in, which is a pretty bad matchup, but my opponent drew terribly,
Mm.
thankfully. And yeah, game one, they
On
didn't do anything.
brand.
They didn't do anything for like 3 or 4 turns. Game one, honestly, yeah, true. It was expected. I actually going into it, I was like, Ancient Box, free dub. They're just gonna brick twice. And game one, they didn't do anything for like 4 turns, and game two, they literally just drew past. So, if I remember correctly. So yeah, yeah, on brand for Ancient Box. Um,
And then what did you play against through your run in Top
um,
Cut?
so top 16, I hit
I
Steven.
guess we can see it here. Yes,
Yeah,
Steven playing Dusknor
Darf.
Dragapult.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny. I didn't realize it. Steven, like when I sat down, I was like, Steven looked familiar to me, but I actually played Steven on the winning in at Worlds from day one to day two, and he beat me with Ancient Box.
Mm.
But this time around, he's playing Dragapult, and both games kind of went the same against Steven, honestly. Game one, Lone Dragapult, KO'd it with Raichu, took over the game. Game two, in game one, he didn't like, so it's in game one, he got like turn two Candy Dragapult. I KO'd it with Raichu, immediately responded to it, KO'd it, and then he wasn't able to ever re-establish a board of another Dragapult. Game two, I did the exact same thing, but it only happened in game two because he prized double Dreepy, and turn one or turn 2, I went boss KO Dreepy under Badoo that had it was funny because like I had like a crazy response to his Badoo, which was I think he Badooed me. I went boss KO Dreepy that didn't have the rescue board. Yeah, because he rescue board into Badoo. So that means and he had no energy in play. So that means he can't Sparkling Crystal. But then he has Candy Dragapult Crispin with no Dreepy bench. And then I KO his only Dragapult in
And he
play.
has nothing.
Yeah, and then next turn he plays Nest Ball, fails, plays Arvin, doesn't get Night Stretcher. Oh, maybe he didn't even play. He either already played the Night Stretcher or that was also prized. And then at the end of the game, he flips over his prize cards, and there's two Dreepies chilling in the prize cards. So we didn't get super late game matches like I feel like the game usually plays out like in that matchup. But that matchup is definitely like unfavorable. I think I would say overall after playing it throughout the weekend, but it's not terrible. You can run over them pretty quickly if you go second as well.
Yeah. Then in the next round, top eight, you play against Caleb Rogerson, who
Yep.
was playing Maraudon in a very similar 60 tiers. I think
Yeah. Two
like
cards
two
difference.
cards. Yeah, two cards.
Yeah, and, I think Rogerson knew my exact 60 as well. Rogerson made a misplay in game 1. I used Iron Bundle at the end of it, and it was a situation where I should have had to draw 3 off Mew and hope to hit my switch card, but Rogerson pushed up Zapdos instead of Iron Hands, and I was able to just go Luminian for Arvin for switch card. He didn't realize I had 1 prize card remaining because he forgot he popped his Magneton earlier in the game. And it's kind of funny. I wasn't super sure about going first versus second in the mirror. I think going first is correct though. And it was funny because me and Rogerson were talking before the match, and I was like, I hope you win the coin flip so I don't have to pick. I won the coin flip. I chose second.
Mm.
He went first. I kind of saw how things played out and saw how he like approached it, which I would have done similarly, utilize Rotom, set up a bench of one project plus Pikachu. And I was like, yeah, going first is probably correct. And then going into game two after I beat him in game one, he chose first. But
Yeah.
it didn't matter because I think I played 4 generators in 2 turns, and they all hit double lightning. So,
It was your
I
tournament to win, huh,
I
buddy?
hands the Zapdos for 2, and then it was just like Gus, and the game was over.
You
So,
just had it like that.
yeah. Hey, 16 lightning energy. No one else had 16 lightning energy besides
That is
Caleb,
true.
probably. Um, and then my top 4 match was against, the Cloth Terrapagos. But yeah, that was the match that they tied. They probably should have. Well, it depends what their goal was. If we go back to that, they tied in round 12, right? And it was Maridon versus Cloth. But honestly, this matchup is like whoever goes second. It feels like, to be honest, because even though the Cloth deck, if they go first, they can kind of push some random. The deck doesn't function very well going first though because it's a trolley deck.
Yeah.
Um, So the deck wants to go second, and then it's probably in a pretty good spot to take the first two prize knockout or just Badoo you and slow it down. I was pretty surprised to see that they tied because it feels like the cloth player should have played it out for cut. I don't know if they thought they were into cut though with the tie, or if they were both just content with top 16, I guess as well. For the Maridon player, it kind of makes sense to take the tie, I guess, because you're like,
Sure.
well, it's an unfavorable matchup, not by a lot though. It's an unfavorable matchup. If my opponent wants to tie, sure, I'm down to tie. I'll guarantee top 16. If something cheesy happens, we both make cut and go for it from there. So yeah, the tie was definitely interesting. And it worked out in my benefit. And then I played against the Cloth Terapagos in top, was it 4 at that point? And yeah, it was basically whoever went second just won. It was kind of funny. It was definitely some funny games. He prized Trolley game 1. So he like opened Guru for 4 Seal Stone, play trolley after using 4 seal stone though, so I knew there was no trolley to be had. And I won game 1 pretty quickly after choosing second, if I remember correctly. And then game 2, game 3, yeah, whoever went second got the first 2 prize knockout, and the game kind of scaled from there. Or no, I guess like game 2, he didn't get the first 2 prize knockout, but he went into Badoo, and it just like makes things really hard to. I couldn't function. I didn't get an aggressive enough start to like hands the Badoo immediately, so it's just hard to
Did he
deal with that
Badoo you
too.
for a lot of that deck can Badoo for a lot of damage between like poison and the mochi and stuff
Yeah.
like that. He can hit you pretty hard.
Well, yeah, I pushed Magnemite up turn 1. His hand must have been, like, missing just a couple pieces because he had the Mochi combo, but didn't do it because he didn't want his Badoo to die, I don't think. So he just hit my Magnemite for 10, drew again for turn, and then he was confident in his hand at that point, and then he did the poison combo, KO'd my Magnemite. So he was like the hand was just not quite good enough to go for the poison combo right then, I guess. He waited a turn. And then actually game 3 was crazy. He maybe mulliganed once, but I opened triple generator Maridon with Mew in the active. So I was able to
Disgusting,
yeah, but
dude.
well, hold on. He opened Area Zero Trolley.
Okay,
He maybe
okay.
had to force Seal Stone for the Trolley, so he had 8 Pokemon off the rip, squawked the hand away. But I was able to go turn 1 Boss Iron Hands KO Squawk to put myself in a position where no matter what he sends up, I don't need to gust this turn. He ended up attacking with the 2 prizer anyways. Ended up attacking with Terapagos, I think, so it made it easy for a Raikou response. And I got Magnemite down turn 1 as well. But yeah, my turn 1 was pretty disgusting in that one, going second. And then it was pretty clean knockout from there to close it out.
And
Um,
then finally, in the finals, you play against Mauricio with the Gouging Fire.
yeah,
So there's a couple of backstories here. First off, Mauricio did beat Caleb in top 16.
yeah.
So he had already played against your teammate, testing partner, friend who was playing the same 60 as you. But then also there was this interaction over the weekend that happened about a month ago that a lot of people were reposting and stuff. Pokemari tweeted and said, "Hot take: you think gouging fire sucks because you play it like Bolt. The deck is a toolbox, not a beat stick." And then tagged you, and you said, "Or the deck just sucks."
Yeah, yeah,
And little did you guys know you would meet in the finals of the regional championships here in Mexico.
yeah, it's pretty fitting. Mauricio's been chirping the gouging fire propaganda for a while to me, to be honest. So it's pretty cool to see him to make his way to the finals though. And we had a pretty good set. He played it really well as well. Really played to a low bench size, limiting my options. The matchup I think is definitely unfavorable. It's got a lot of HP, man. Gouging Fire's got a lot of HP. It's pretty annoying. It's got a lot of HP.
Yeah.
But then going into game 3, he did just go Entei Pass, and I blew it up with Raichu. So it's kind of fortunate in the game 3. But I had like a better grasp. Game 1 just went pretty abysmally for me. Game 2, I made some mistakes, but never got punished for them. For how he drew. And then game 3, I definitely was like going to be approaching it a little bit differently. I was going to try and reach for like a double Raichu play. I feel like that has to be like my route to victory because it's just so hard to draw prize cards in that matchup. And he like plays the vacuum for the bravery charm, so you can't even get like 2 turns out of one of your Pokemon guaranteed or anything like that. So yeah, my plan was to try and reach for like back to back Raichu KOs aggressively to try and gain tempo in the matchup, but didn't need it. One Raichu KO was enough, so that was fortunate.
Shout outs to Eric from the Beach Court podcast because he sat in front of the TV that they had set up. There was no stream for the event, but he
Yeah,
streamed it from his phone on YouTube for everyone to be able to watch it happen. So shout outs to Eric for making it happen. It makes you realize just what a bummer it is when there's not a stream at these major tournaments.
Yeah, it truly is. I mean, that's something we've talked about. I feel like it should be like TPCI should make it mandatory for the TOs to like figure something out as far as the stream goes. Even like a no commentary, just like a feed to a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel or something
Yeah,
would be
because
nice.
then you get people to do watch parties and stuff like that. Like it would be able to be seen, you know.
Yeah, for sure, it would be nice for sure. And honestly, at the event, one thing I'll mention, I did note it, and I did get a uh, this is a new thing. I think I got a caution. I didn't even get a warning. I got a caution. I was close to getting a penalty for my pace of play though, dude. I need to like I was playing so slow. Not on purpose, but like that's like one thing why I wanted to play more games with the deck as well. Like I just want to be more comfortable with the deck that I'm bringing to a tournament.
Buddy's out of
Um
practice over here.
and it would have been fine if I had gotten penalty warnings or penalties or whatever. Like I'm not trying to slow play, and if I'm playing too slow, I should get penalties. I got a caution though, I think is what I got when I was on the feature match against uh was it Jack, right? Jack Moore? Yeah. With the guard for. I got a caution. Is that a new thing though? I've never heard of a caution before. It's not a warning, but it's just like
I
I
think
guess
it's
it's
the
like a
same thing.
yeah. Oh, maybe it was a warning officially. So I was close to
Yeah.
a prize penalty then. But yeah, that's like another reason I want to play more with the deck I'm bringing to a tournament, is so I can just play faster. I just want to play 3 games of Pokemon ideally in every set. That's the goal.
Well, let's take a look at some of the other results from the tournament, and let's start actually by looking at the meta share. So we do have a meta share percentage. Shout outs to Falzar here on Twitter, to show what the most popular decks were, and it does look like Pult Dusknoir was most popular, followed by Gardevoir. So Poltnor was at 18.9%, Gardevoir at 13.4, and then we have Lugia at 9.8, and then Charizard holding strong at 9.0, which I think is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, what the heck? Dude, this is literally like it's like last format, but worse. Like I would always bring up, it's like, bro, why are people bringing Charizard just to go 0-3 drop? But now you got the same percentage of people doing it, but now you're gonna go 0-3 drop faster, I guess. I don't know. Like you're still going 0-3 drop. Why is there so much Charizard still? What the heck?
It's just,
Crazy.
it's a deck that people have, I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
part
yeah,
of it
yeah. That
too.
is fair. That is fair. That is fair.
And then rounding out what the top six would be. So we would have Gardevoir, Pult, Lugia, Charizard. Rounding it out would be the Archaladon, or sorry, Raging Bolt at 7.1, and then Maridon at 5.8, just ahead of Archaladon at 5.7.
Our Chaladon's a little bit low. Yeah, like our Chaladon being less popular than Charizard and Raging Ball's kind of crazy because, like, but yeah, honestly, part of it is probably just what people have, right? People just like, I mean, Raging Ball and Charizard have been like highly played decks for a while now. They haven't been great for a while now, but they have been highly played decks for a while now. So people are just going to bring their deck, right? No matter what. I guess maybe we need a little bit more time for things to fully adjust where it's like, all right, if you want to like be reasonably competitive, you do have to bring something else. So people are probably be shifting over to like other decks. But yeah, Raging Ball and Charizard are like pretty bad right now in comparison to Archaladon, which is like okay. I think Archaladon's like fine.
And I think that's made evident by the numbers from day two, where we see Charizard drops all the way down to ninth,
2%.
2% meta share day two. But Dragapult ends up converting well, 20%, 17.9% Gardevoir in day two, 17.39 Lugia in day two. That's probably the best conversion of all these decks.
Yeah.
Um actually maybe Maridon's is the best, up 11.4. Raging Bolt actually positive conversion into day
Yeah.
two, which is a little surprising. 8.7, and then Archaladon kind of holding a right around where it was at 5.4.
Yeah. Then a bunch of twos from there, a little bit of everything. Yeah. What is the go back to the results. I'm just curious where did everything land in terms of like um
Oh, right here.
yeah, just like top 16
Yeah, so there
everything at.
was quite a few Dragapult Dusknoir, most of them in top cut, but Aiden Koos ends up losing in top eight.
Yeah.
So top eight is where Dragapult's run ended. So in top 14, we had five Dusknoir, we had five Maridon, one Gardevoir, one Terapagos, one, which is a Terapagos Cloth. We have one Gouging Fire and one Iron Thorns.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was predicting Brent or Aiden to win this tournament. To be honest, I feel like they had. I don't know for sure what the other Dragon Ball list looked like, but I mean, Brent Tonneson is literally the most successful player this year, I think. And I'm one of the best players in the world for sure. Aiden, of course, also a very solid player. I was like, you guys probably one of you should probably win this tournament. I feel like for sure.
Yeah, they were up at the
Um,
top tables of the entire tournament pretty
yeah,
much.
Brent maybe started 8-0 as well. Day one today too. I know he
I
started
think that's
7-0.
correct. Yeah.
Maybe it was a tie in the last round. I don't remember. But yeah, I was like, Brent, you better win this one. Like this is like I was like, this should be a dub for sure. I feel like you're ahead of the meta, the format in terms of your knowledge of the matchups. 'Cause I was talking to him a lot throughout the tournament, just about different matchups with the deck as well. Because I was curious how he felt about like the Lugia matchup, Powerful matchup. But never asked him about the Marauder matchup, of course, because I don't want him to like. I'm not trying to like get leaks on the matchup that if I have to play against him, obviously. But I was like
Why
curious on how
not,
he
bro?
felt
If
about
he's
the
gonna
other
give them to
matchups.
you, why not?
No, I feel like that's like a disrespectful question to ask. I'd never ask anyone anything like that. But I always like love talking Pokemon. I feel like some people think that I'm sometimes trying to like get information. I just like genuinely like talking about Pokemon. I would never like ask a question that I feel like jeopardizes the that puts them in an awkward spot. Like I was like, I never asked him, how do you play the Maridon matchup? Right, obviously, because I'm playing Maridon, he's playing the Dragapult deck. But like, it's like if I'm asking about Lugia, like I'm not playing Lugia. I don't know anyone who's playing Lugia. Well, I knew Kieran was playing Lugia, but I'm not gonna go like leak the strats to Kieran or anything like that. So I'm just like curious about uh what he thinks about those matchups. Cause I just like genuinely like talking about Pokemon and stuff like that. And when you can like have the opportunity to talk to some of the best players in the world about Pokemon, like why would you not want to take that opportunity?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I that was my pick to win the tournament. But honestly, yeah, all the Dragapults they kind of came up a little bit short, right? Because they didn't all lose in the first round, or did no, not quite all lost in the first round.
All except for Aiden. Aiden
Yeah,
was the
all
only
except
one
for
left
Aiden.
after the
Asymmetrical cut.
ASIM rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of wild. The Maridons kind of prevailed in the exchange. It feels like.
Yeah, and there
Um,
were quite a few other Miraidons. Any of these others lists we should look at specifically?
no, the Maridons. No, I think they're probably all
Everyone's was
the same,
pretty
right?
similar, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
I mean, everyone was kind of playing like the same thing. There wasn't anything too
Yeah,
like literally.
Leandro and Rafael were on the same 60. Also played the same
Yeah.
60 as Pedro, Pertusi. I
Yeah.
think this is like one card different from y'all's
Wait, what
list.
is that Magnemite? What the heck? Who's that?
Yeah, I don't know who that. Oh, bro, he does 60.
Who's that good against?
Uh,
The hit
Not
itself?
much. It KOs itself too.
Wait, what? It KOs itself?
Yes, it's big explosion, 60 damage. It does 60 to itself. I mean, you can bravery charm him.
Banned. Literally, if you're playing this Magnemite, you're banned. That's you can't be playing this one. Get him out of here. I guess they
uh,
also didn't do any Zapdos. Like I didn't play Zapdos.
I think the only difference
Roger
is
should have played
literally
Zapdos.
minus 4 Sealstone plus one more basic lightning is the only
Yeah.
difference besides the Magnemite.
Yeah, Rogerson also played the double force shield stone as well, which I did prize it a couple games, and I was like, also it is nice to just kind of have an extra tool to work with for
Dude,
discard fodder. But
but can you admit that playing 2 boss would have been trolling?
yeah, three boss was definitely better for sure. Looks like everyone was on three boss as well. Boss has definitely become less good in the deck. It was way boss has been like an insanely well, not it's still an insanely powerful card in Marina, but it was definitely way more powerful previous formats.
Yeah.
Falling off a little bit.
Well, what do we got to say about the gouging fire deck here that got second? Do you feel like you
There's
stole this regional dub here? Got away with one with the Entei pass?
I mean, I never say about that because I just don't think about the game in that way. Like you're always like if you want to be successful in the Pokemon TCG or like any TCG, you have to play for the long term, right?
Yeah.
Like your opponent's Entei passes and your Entei passes are all going to come equally. You just have to take advantage of them when it's favorable for you. You have to take advantage of it, and when it's disfavorable for you, you have to try and make the most out of it, right? Like there's yeah, like I would never like ever frame anything like that way, like it got stolen or like someone shouldn't have won. Although I've probably like said things like that in the past. It's like 9 times out of 10, player X beats player Y, but player Y won this time. But it's like player X will get their moment still if they keep playing and they keep playing well. But it all comes down to like preparation and continue to play well, right? Because if you slack off, the opportunity might never come around where you're able to like take advantage of your 1 of 10, right? So you always got to be like super sharp and try and be at the top of your game consistently. Yeah, that's the way it is in card games. You always got to be playing for got to be playing for the long game if you want to be successful. It's not about this tournament; it's about every tournament after this tournament, right? So I never really think about it that way. But yeah, definitely an interesting list. I talked to Mauricio a little bit. Definitely going to give the deck a try. Well, honestly, I maybe don't have time before UIC, but um, uh, honestly, I just think, dude, I think Bravery Charm is just super good right now. I was thinking about this with Maridon as well. I was actually wondering how many Bravery Charm he played once I learned how high up there he was doing. And then when he was playing against Caleb, me and Caleb checked his Twitter to because he's always talking about gouging fire. So we checked his Twitter to try and find his most recent tweet about gouging fire to see what he was playing. Um, and did what we could with that. But I was like, dude, what if I was like in my head, I was thinking, what if you just play 4 Bravery Charm in that deck? I was like, what if I was playing 4 Bravery Charm and Merida? I was like, that'd be pretty good. Maybe not without as wide of a bench as you have to go sometimes. You have too many liabilities, but Bravery Charm's pretty good right now. I don't know.
So here's the cloth deck that got top four from Rolando.
Yeah. Some interesting cards in here, I think for sure.
Black Belt's
Um,
Training, a new card.
yeah. Is playing the Petron EX, so is playing heavily towards that turn one donk potential going first with the baby Petron. Which I think probably makes sense. It's a go second format, so you want to be able to take advantage as much advantage of going first as you possibly can. Um, my final build of this deck that I worked on immediately didn't. I had the baby Petron in there, but even then I was feeling pretty iffy about it. But that's when the format was young, so I was getting to go second a lot. But we're definitely gonna go second. I feel like now everyone's choosing second with a lot of decks. Not every deck. Like Archaldon probably still goes first, maybe Lugia, but
We're
even
probably
Lugia in some matchups wanted to go second. I think
just the fact that this exists. I feel like now, if you're playing Gardevoir or if you're playing Dragapult and you open up a hand with two Dreepy or
he's coming
two
down. Yeah,
Ralts, there's no reason not to bench the second one. For
yeah.
forever, there was no reason to bench the second one, so nobody does,
Yeah.
right? But there's this is enough of a reason. Just put them
Well,
both down.
this is not the most popular this deck has been, right? There was the Cloth Terrapagos come up in Europe, right? So like
Sure.
we've been in this situation for a while, and this deck has not been super popular. I'm actually a little bit surprised at this deck. I mean, it's not like the deck wasn't super successful, right? There wasn't like 4 of these in Top Cut or something, but like
Yeah.
generally, and I don't think this placement makes me think different of this. I think this still has a bad Dragapult and a bad Gardevoir matchup. Maybe some further testing is needed. Maybe I'm a little bit under tested with the deck, but I
I
think my
think
take on that is still the same. I think it's still unfavorable against both those.
I feel like if Gardevoir plays Klefki, it feels pretty terrible, but I don't know. And maybe Gardevoirs will be playing Klefki after all this Maridon
What the
success,
heck?
right?
I still got the Electrode in there? Bro, he just
Yeah,
knew that Charizard was still rocking at 9%, I
9%.
guess. I mean, honestly, I mean, that's not like a terrible prediction to make. Like, people are still gonna play Charizard, I guess. Like, and when we saw it, I was like, yeah, I guess. And people are still just gonna play the decks that they actually have. Not everyone has access to or wants to go get a new deck. So people are still just gonna kind of play what they have. If they got Charizard, they got Charizard. It's like, well, if they're gonna have Charizard, I may as well still play the Electrode's glasses. Yeah, why not?
Another person who had a really sick run through Swiss was Michael Davidson. He was right up there with Brent basically the whole tournament. And he got top eight with the Gardevoir, did lose in top eight though.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty interesting thing from this list. There is 3 Monkey Dory and no Drifloon.
Yeah. Heroes Cape, 3 TM Evo. Bro, that's gotta be the 3 TM Evo's gotta be overkill. I'm assuming you just want to try to draw into it off your Iono, though, I assume is the point here. So this build is like very geared towards I gotta be mirror match a little bit, but then also uh, the Dragapult matchup, right? It's gotta
Yeah.
be like we're trying to be Dragapult here. And it seems like I didn't know. I kind of always felt like Gardevoir was just favored against Dragapult. Um Guardy players have definitely come to a different conclusion. It's not a matchup I have a ton of experience with recently. And like talking to Brent, he seemed super confident in the matchup, despite I think eventually figuring out what all the Gardevoir players at this tournament were playing, like the high level Gardevoir names, like Josh Frank, Davidson here. They got the capes, they got the triple Dory. Um, I'm not sure what Jack and Calvin played Aroma actually. Jack had the hero's cape though. Jack didn't have the triple Dory.
He did not have Drifloon either.
Also no Drifloon. Honestly, I don't. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. You kind of just don't need the loon anymore.
It's always interesting to me though, whenever so many people come to the same decision. Like, I don't think that Jack and Cal and Davidson communicate and work together, right? But they
I don't know.
all
Maybe there's like
3
a
separately yeah, there's like just a Guardy lovers
Gardevoir Discord?
Discord or
Yeah, or
something.
something.
Everyone's like,
Is
"No
that what it
Drifloon,
is?
no Drifloon." But it's like, yeah, it's just always interesting. It like takes a while for such a staple card like that to make its way out of a lot of people's lists. And it usually takes like a top player making the cut,
Performing
making
well.
the change, performing well
Yeah.
with it, for people to like catch on, like, oh, I guess it's not needed anymore, right? But so it's just kind of interesting. I mean, all three of these guys are obviously good players.
Yeah.
So it is just interesting that that is the conclusion they all came to, like all at the same time. Yeah, no Drifloon.
Yeah, no loon at all. I mean, it's just like, well, I guess the only other matchup you'd want it for would be um Archaladon. So, but I guess Screamtail plus Cape gets a one hit KO on Archaladon at some point, right? So maybe that's good enough. Guardy Turo's like pretty good against them as well. So just Guardy plus punch and then Turo reset your Guardy is pretty good against Archaladon. Monkey Dory spread to the bench. The baby Dons until you can set up for an effective one hit through a Guardy EX as well. So might be enough for that matchup. But also Archaladon, like, yeah, so if that's enough and you're still favored in that matchup, then I guess that's like fine.
Yeah.
Um, and I personally also predicted I thought Archaladon would have a pretty bad tournament between Lugia, Rocky, and Heavy Rat builds was my one of my guesses, and then the Guardy matchup. I thought Guardy was gonna be pretty popular. I thought it would have been more successful though. I mean, it didn't do terribly. You got 3 in top 16, but only 1 in the asymmetrical cut, as well. So didn't quite get there. Um, yeah, you think it had Davidson. Davidson did end up losing to Mauricio, and but did beat the. It's funny. Played against Iron Thorns in the asymmetrical cut, and the Iron Thorns player did not play the canceling cologne, which is probably correct. If you're rocking Thorns at this point, who's teching for Mimikyu? But Davidson did have the Mimikyu in there, which is an
Yeah.
interesting inclusion. I'm actually not 100% sure what the Mimikyu's for.
It's pretty decent against Miraidon, I
Yeah, but I
think.
feel like, but I think Klefki's better. I don't know.
Klefki's definitely better, but maybe Mimikyu does more in other places, right? Where
I guess you can
Klefki.
use Mimikyu going second. Can't really use Klefki going second. It's gonna be harder
Mhm.
to get value out of Klefki going second. Maybe that's like the reasoning.
Yeah, like Mimikyu doesn't seem very good against. I mean, I guess it's pretty good against like Raging Bolt and stuff, but we don't expect that to be very popular
Oh,
in this
maybe
format.
Lugia. Lugia could be another reason to play it.
Yeah, well, yeah, Giga still KOs it though.
Yeah, but you they can't hands or pawn for 2.
Sure.
You slow them down.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe something like that could be the reason.
And speaking of Lugia, there were a couple in top 32, but despite its success from day one to day two, second most popular deck in day two, none in the top 16, none fighting for top eight contention. I guess that's
Yeah.
what happened when there's all these Miraidons up here in in top cut and in
Yeah.
Iron Thorns.
And I think, like, moving forward, I think Lugia is gonna be I think Lugia has to keep it low key for a little while. Like, I don't think like, I think Miraidon's gonna be pretty popular. Miraidon doesn't feel like it has any, like, glaring weaknesses in the current format, unless Charizard or Raging Bolt. But they see like Charizard and Raging Bolt can't really make a comeback. Your Dragapult matchup, I think, as Miraidon is unfavored, but it's not terrible. You're fighting against Gardevoir, obviously, but yes, I think Lugia, like this was Lugia's tournament to do well at, but Miraidon kind of just too successful. And now moving forward to like UIC, Lugia feels not unplayable, but it's not a great play.
Yeah. There was a lost box here from Andrew Hedrick, got top 16, or sorry, 18th place, top 32 with the
Yeah,
lost box, bringing it back out one last ride before rotation, or it just seemed like it felt really good.
I don't know. I
It,
did think about Lost Box personally going leading up to the tournament. I just don't think you can beat Dragapult. I don't know how you beat Dragapult. They just Badoo chain you for a little bit, and then they go like Iono Dusknoir board wipe, basically. Good luck. And
does feel kind of tough. Yeah, Badoo is pretty good against this deck. I mean, you can
now
Cramorant
if
them, right?
yeah, you are getting a prize card. Like I think getting to the cram isn't that hard, but I don't think they mind giving you that prize card for like 2 prize cards in a row, and then just hit you with like Iono, like Dusknoir Iono. If this deck could confidently go second and turn 1 Moonlight Shuriken, maybe there's something going on there. But I don't think the deck can do that often
We got double lost
anymore.
vacuum. We got the four
It can do it.
Pokestop.
I don't think it's doing it though consistently.
Probably not.
They aren't playing Manaphy, so like, but yeah, I don't think Lost Box is. I think the Dragapult matchup's too tough for Lost Box to be honest. And they even have like Guard Force playing like Celia again, which is like annoying. It's always an
Yeah.
annoying attacker.
Cresselia was so annoying for lost box
Yeah,
always.
it's maybe changed a little bit now. I'm not sure. I was actually surprised to see so many Guard Force playing Manaphy. Um, but I guess like there is stuff still like Water Pawn and Lugia, so maybe that was like maybe the main draw for that. Because like when I was thinking about Gardevoir going into this tournament, I was gonna try it. I was gonna just immediately run it without Manaphy. I don't think David's had played Manaphy, but there were still a couple that were still running the Manaphy. Um,
Well,
Water pond was maybe a big enough threat to consider it still.
let's well, you got anything else you want to say about your dub? Anything else to say about Merida before we do our like recaps here of our predictions from last week?
No, no, it was a good tournament. It was well ran. I feel like I didn't really feel like there was any major hiccups. I did plan to try and go to Monterrey as well, the other regional championship in Mexico, but I missed registration, so I might not go to Monterrey. I did see a tweet from them though, a Karma Beam, I believe is what their organizer is, and they said they're working on getting more seats available, which usually means they're gonna make some seats available. The question is just how many. Uh, so I'm gonna try and still register for that if possible. It's gonna be the plan. So hopefully I'll be going back to Mexico for one more major this year. A little bit more prepared.
All right. Well, let's recap our predictions here from last week. Our first prediction was how many Badoo would there be in Top Cuts? You guessed five, I guessed four, and the real answer is actually the best way to do this is just to click on the Badoo,
Yeah.
and we can see that there was. Oh, I guess it depends on how many the Dusknor
I'll have
decks
ooh, that's
played.
not true. I know Brent and Aiden played one, I think.
They played one. Steven played two. Arath played two. What the heck is
Hey, there's
that?
a Charizard in there.
Oh, we
Sneak
didn't
it in
talk about
there.
this.
No,
That's
I didn't know that.
that's kind of cool. We got a Terra Orb in here as well.
The Terror Orb's just kinda nice in general, I feel like, but I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone else was playing it. But yeah, the one-on-one Charizard for a little bit of energy excel, a little bit late game heavy hitting. Alright.
Okay.
I don't
Very
hate
cool.
it.
Wait, how many Badu was that?
There's
That was
2.
two.
There's a lot.
And then Diego. How many did Diego play? He played one. So we've
1.
got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight Badu in top 14. Now, I will say part of this
Hey,
prediction.
hold on. Where
What's up?
is Oh, did, Davidson not play a Badoo? I didn't realize that.
Oh, Davidson, yeah, did not play Badu,
Interesting. Hmm. Maybe
which
you
is
don't
what.
need it if enough of the matchups just it's kinda good against,
Well, he's playing three.
Rhydon, though.
He's playing three TM Evo, bro. Like, are we really taking time to Badu people when
Yeah.
we've got three TM Evo in our deck?
How do you answer Maridon then ever? Like, you just don't have a good play against Maridon unless you open the Mimikyu.
Yeah, that is a good point.
The Mawile is your win con, I guess. The Mawile is your win con.
Yeah.
And with only one switch card, honestly, it's pretty close. It's like 50-50, I feel like, with only one switch card, but
Um. So yeah, there is a lot of Bedouin cut, more than either of us predicted, but I don't think either of us predicted there was going to be 14 people in top cut. So that's part
yeah.
of where that went off the rails for us. Our next prediction was what would be the highest placing A spec in Gardevoir? Azul said Trolley. I went with the stamp, and we were both wrong.
Hero's Cape.
It was the Hero's Cape, and the second highest placing one was the Hyper Aroma.
Yeah. The Hyper
Where
Aroma is definitely, what are you looking for? Where are you
where
going?
the heroes where the unfair stamps are. This one had secret
Oh, where are the
box
unfair I don't know, was there any? Was anyone on stamp? Apparently it's bad.
stamp. That's secret box. That's secret box. Yeah, no one in top 32 had secret box or trolley. Or sorry, stamp or trolley as their spec in Gardevoir.
Yeah, I was holding out for the did I say trolley?
You
I mean,
said trolley.
trolley was never happening, to be honest. I think I was trolling with that one.
And then final prediction here over under 16.5 for Azul placement in the tournament. We both smacked the over and it cashed, baby. Our horsey got first place. Congratulations, Azul, once again. Type a congrats in the chat, aka the
Comment
comment
section.
section to Azul if you have not done so just yet. And I'm gonna get to add another video to the Azul won a tournament playlist, so that's
I
pretty
didn't even know that
cool.
it existed. How long has that just been there?
I made it this week.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, it's a good meme. All right, Azul, you got anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here and get into our bonus episode for our YouTube members and Spotify subscribers?
I was gonna actually mention this earlier. I'm glad I remembered it now. No, but not nothing besides the overall, like, support at the tournament was kinda crazy. The amount of I've never taken so many pictures or signed so many autographs at a tournament than Merida. So, yeah, a ton of people came up to me, and asked me for a picture or an autograph or whatever. It was really nice. Appreciate the, support, I guess. Definitely. And anyone like at future tournaments, or ever, if anyone ever wants to come up, because I get asked that question all the time in my chat. Are you okay with like me coming up and asking you for a picture or autograph? Yes, for sure. Come up, ask for a picture or an autograph. I don't mind. Just make sure it's not during a match. Try and catch me after a match, or yeah, in between rounds, whatever. If like a round was just called and you see me, you can ask me for a quick picture. That's like fine. It's not that big of a deal. It takes like a second. But yeah, don't ask me in the middle of the match. It's like disrespectful to my opponent, stuff like that. But yeah, yeah, it was kind of crazy, and like especially like after winning, there was like a whole crowd of people who wanted me to like sign things, which was really really cool. So just want to say I appreciate the support, I guess, from everyone at the tournament. And yeah, don't be afraid to ask in the future. I'm always open to autographs and signatures and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was kind of especially for like, I mean, yeah, for like how small the tournament was in comparison to other tournaments I've been to, like NAIC with like 3K people or whatever. The amount of people who were coming up to me was kind of crazy.
Well, it's probably a lot of people's first time being at a tournament with you, right? Because it's like
True.
the first regionals in Mexico in years.
Yeah.
Most people who are at the tournament are not traveling to the US to play in tournaments. So most of them, it was probably the first time they were in the same room as you, the people who wanted pictures and autographs and stuff. So,
That is definitely true. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had a major in Mexico.
all right. Well, yeah, we appreciate everyone for the support as always. If you want to show your support, be sure to do so by leaving us a like, a review, a rating, a comment, subscribe. All those things help us out a bunch and help more people to discover the podcast. And if you want to stay up to date with what's happening with us, you can do so over on Twitter. You can follow myself at Chipritchy, Azul at Azul underscore GG, and you can follow the podcast at uncommon underscore energy.
Yeah, appreciate the support as always. Catch y'all next week on schedule on Wednesday, 7 a.m. Eastern.